Welcome back, 8th graders, to Week 9. I am absolutely thrilled to guide you through today's explainer on the properties of water. We're going to be exploring the fascinating world of fluid dynamics. But we aren't just going to sit here reading about it, we're rolling up our sleeves and setting the stage for a truly hands-on learning journey. So grab your notebooks, clear off a workspace, and get ready to see the hidden superpowers of water in action.
Okay, let's dive into this. Before we pull out our water droppers and get our hands wet, we really need to talk about the why behind our lesson. 1 Thessalonians tells us to test everything, hold on to what is good. You see, both science and faith encourage us to actively test ideas to confirm what's true. We don't just guess how the world works, right? We observe, we test, and we discover the truth for ourselves.
Here's a quick look at our roadmap for today. 1. Testing the truth. 2. Gathering real-world evidence. 3. Exploring cohesion and tension. 4. Adhesion and capillary action. 5. Connecting science to stewardship. And finally, 6. Education with biblical morality.
All right, Section 1, Testing the Truth, the big idea.
You know, reading a textbook is great, but getting your hands wet, that's where the real learning happens. By observing and measuring water's properties yourself through safe, small-scale experiments, you're bridging the gap. You're connecting scientific theories straight to real-world evidence. Actually seeing cohesion and surface tension happen right in front of your own eyes makes these concepts real, tangible, and totally memorable. You literally become the scientist.
Moving right along to Section 2, Gathering real-world evidence, types of data.
And this brilliantly illustrates the two types of data you're going to need to record today. Qualitative data deals with descriptive observations, so what you see, color changes, or maybe how water spreads. Quantitative data, on the other hand, relies on numerical measurements, like counting exact numbers or measuring distances. A thorough scientific experiment always uses both of these to tell the full story.
So as you conduct your experiments today, I want you to organize your findings. You're going to create a table just like this. In the first column, you'll list the specific experiment. In the second, you'll record both your qualitative and quantitative observations. And in the third column, you'll connect those observations directly to the scientific property being demonstrated. This structure is absolutely key to proving your results.
Okay, Section 3, Exploring cohesion and tension, the penny dome.
Before we test anything, we need to know the rule. Cohesion is the property that causes water molecules to hold tightly together. They literally love to stick to each other. Because of this intense attraction at the surface, it creates what we call surface tension, essentially a tiny, invisible skin stretched across the top of the water. Keep this definition in the back of your mind as we set up our first test.
All right, here is exactly how you'll test this. Step 1. Place a clean penny on a completely flat surface. Step 2, using a dropper, carefully drop water onto the penny, just one single drop at a time. Step 3, count exactly how many drops that penny can hold before the water finally spills over the edge. And hey, remember what we just talked about? Because you are counting drops, you are collecting quantitative data. As you do this, you're going to see something amazing. The water doesn't just run off, it actually piles up. So ask yourself, why doesn't the water spill off the penny immediately? So the crucial point is, the drops pile up into a literal dome shape because cohesion and surface tension are holding those water molecules together against gravity. The water is gripping onto itself tightly until the volume is just way too much to hold. Let's jump into Section 4, Adhesion and capillary action, movement and spreading. Let's see how this builds on our previous concept. If you drop water on a paper towel, it immediately spreads out. This is a property called adhesion. Water molecules sticking to a completely different substance, which in this case is the paper. But if you drop water on wax paper, it doesn't spread at all. It beads right up. That's because the water's cohesion, its desire to stick to itself, is much stronger than its adhesion to the slick wax. Comparing these two surfaces perfectly demonstrates the epic battle between cohesion and adhesion.
And that brings us to another incredible definition: capillary action. This is the ability of a liquid to flow in narrow spaces without the assistance of or even in opposition to external forces like gravity. It's essentially teamwork between cohesion and adhesion, actually allowing water to climb upward.
To see capillary action happening in nature, you're going to conduct the celery stalk experiment. On day 1, you'll place a stalk of celery into a glass of colored water. Overnight, that colored water is going to travel upward through the celery's narrow internal tubes, called the xylem. By day 2, you'll observe the color movement all the way up into the leaves.
That upward movement, completely defying gravity, is capillary action hard at work.
Shifting gears a bit for Section 5, Connecting Science to Stewardship, your homework. To really solidify everything we've learned today, you have 5 questions to answer for your homework. 1. Describe an experiment that shows cohesion. 2. Describe an experiment that shows adhesion. 3. Explain exactly how you can tell capillary action happened in your celery stalk. 4. Identify what type of data you recorded for the penny experiment. And 5. Explain why it's so vital in science to connect your real-world observations directly to scientific explanations.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how we can zoom out from the microscopic level of water molecules to the big picture. Here is your biblical morality kip. Water sustains all life. It's an incredible, perfectly designed gift, and God calls us to be good stewards of this gift. We must use our scientific knowledge of water's amazing properties to actively protect and preserve clean water sources for people, for animals, and for the future. You see, science actually empowers us to care for the world better.
And that leads us to our final section, Section 6, Education with Biblical Morality, the HeroesMart Philosophy. The absolute core of our philosophy here is that education without morality will hurt. Just think about it for a second. What's the point of being highly educated, of understanding complex fluid dynamics and capillary action, if we continue to make bad, selfish choices that cause pain to ourselves and our planet? If we use science without a moral compass, we just end up polluting the very water we just studied. True education absolutely must be paired with strong morals.
The beauty of this is that intertwining our education with a spiritual, moral mindset leads to a much, much better outcome. As we see referenced in Romans 8:6-7, there is a promise of peace of mind to everyone who keeps their mind spiritual. When you combine the sharp, analytical mind of a scientist with the caring, responsible heart of a godly steward, you experience genuine peace, and you actually bring peace to the world around you.
So, I leave you with this final, provocative thought as you head off to complete your water experiments. How will you use your education and your new scientific understanding to make moral, peaceful choices today? Go out there, test the properties of water, marvel at how it was designed, and always remember your responsibility to protect it. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, 8th graders. Have a blast experimenting!